Welcome back. Apologies for the technical difficulties there, but we are back in the action here as Arjun's managed to get himself into the lead here. We just had a safety car period where Statistic King and Lucifer hadn't stopped. They're no longer in P1 and P2. You can see a few other drivers receiving time penalties at the moment. We'll inform you on who's got what. But Arjun's in the race lead now on the road. And Statistic King has dropped down and Lucifer has dropped behind. They must have come together at some point during that, so unfortunately we missed that part. But we do know that Statistic King and Lucifer, who are running 1 and 2, have dropped down. So Arjun in the race lead, but Stephen in second place has a time penalty. Look at say 3 abreast into the Variante Alta there, and that is Swanshanks, I believe, getting in front of Rosie and Ramsell. And one of the Carlins has gone for a spin at the back. That's Liverpool fan in the MP Motorsport. So Liverpool fan, who was running well at the beginning, has dropped back after that spin. So that's a big shame for him. That's allowed Statistic King to go back up into 9th position. We see him move from the HWA of William going to the inside of the UNI Virtuosi of Dust. And that is him through into P10. So the DRS has now been enabled with Arjun 3.5 seconds clear over Stephen. So Arjun in the lead right now as it stands. He currently holds the fast lap points, which means he'll get the maximum of 48, I think it's 44, I think. Or is it 46? I can't quite remember. It's 40 points for a race victory, 4 points for pole position, and 2 for the fastest lap. So that will be 46 points going Arjun's way. Ramsell at the moment, who's running in 6th place, he would be on course to get 16 championship points. So that would be 30 less than Arjun. And with Winfield down the order as well, because he's just pitted in for a new nose cone. So Winfield out of the points now. As it stands with the championship as it is, it was 42 points going into this round. That is set to be increased to 72. Catching the curve there, I think that was a glitch actually. So Arjun was able to collect it in time. And he'll keep hold of his lead as we watch Big Boss Bells close in on his ART teammate of Stephen. Arjun with a new fastest up of the race. DRS is now open. And this is him going up into 2nd place without an issue. And Statistic King finally into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. So he'll drop to the back of the pack. There's Podge in 4th place on course for a podium. Stephen running wide there at the Villeneuve chicane, as does Podge. So the Villeneuve chicane catching a few drivers out at the moment. Podge fancying a go here on Stephen, who's lost momentum since he lost that 2nd position to his teammate. Warrior now with a time penalty as well. And there's Ramsell, who's got by Rosie as well into 5th place. And he may just get in front of Podge here. Going into the Variante Alta. Ramsell to the inside. Does he go for it from there? Probably a bit too far back. And wisely backs out of it in the end. Stephen gets a really poor exit coming out of the Variante Alta. And Podge is going to pull alongside here. He might get through at Rivazza. Ramsell's waiting in the wings to capitalise in case these two decide to make contact, which is what they do. They both run wide. Ramsell gets past, and Podge has gone for a spin. So Podge and Stephen coming together. Stephen has suffered damage as well, I think. Swanshanks is into the pits, and that could be the end of the race for him, and out of the frame for the race victory. So Ramsell's through into 3rd place now in the high-tech, which is significant as far as the championship is concerned. He's now on course for 26 points. Arjun on course for 46, so the gap as it stands would be at 62. But Ramsell will be looking to get more than what he's potentially in for here. And Stephen exiting his pit box now, and he will rejoin in 12th place. So Stephen out of the frame for a podium most certainly now. So 17 cars still running. At the present moment, Miman Moody has gone down a lap on the leaders. Arjun's lead now nearly 7 seconds over the rest. And Ramsell with a time penalty now for track limits. That's not good news for him. And Big Boss Bells is able to use the DRS to his advantage because he was within a second of Miman Moody, who's a lap down from him. Lap down on him, I should say. We've got 5 laps to go in this race now. Arjun continuing to stretch out his margin. Someone has gone off. It's Miman Moody in the Trident by the looks of things. Is that going to be enough to bring out the safety car with him stranded there? He's crashed on the exit of Tamburello there, look. Doesn't look as though we're going to get a safety car on this occasion. That's been cleared away under waved yellows. So we continue on as we are. So no one is down a lap. They're still running. Big Buzz Bells in second place. And Ramsell in third. He's not quite stretched out the margin of 3 seconds yet on Rosie, but with the pace he's setting right now, he's very much on course to. There's Mielios behind Rosie in the battle for 4th place. Mielios has a time penalty, so if he was going to finish ahead of Rosie, he would need to stretch out a gap over her, which would need to be 6 seconds. Arjun posting the fast stop of the race, 1 minute 25.8, which is a phenomenal lap time considering he's been on those softs for more than 8 laps now. Rearing open on Mielios' car, so this could be a change of position here if he's close enough. Not quite from that, so Mielios remains in 5th place. He's far enough ahead of dust at the moment, so Mielios very much on course for a good finish here in this feature race. This is the closest battle out on the track at the moment. You can see Swanshanks as well behind Statistic King in the battle for 13th. Melios trying to get the best of exits out of Piratella. There's the Prima on the back of the UNI Virtuosi car. The 2 going through. At the moment, only 6 drivers are without time penalties. Donaldson posting another new fastest up at the race. And Ramsell has got the gap down to 2 seconds between him and Big Boss Bell, so he's clearly gaining on him. But remember, Ramsell does have that time penalty. As we watch Milios close in on Rosie here into the slipstream with DRS, and he's going to pull alongside, and this is going to be a change of position on the road. Rosie won't fight it out too much, I don't think, as the Prima goes through. Running wide on the exit there, and that may give Rosie a chance to get back ahead, but she's not able to do that. And Swanshanks with another time penalty for track limits, unfortunately. 11 seconds he's on. He's behind Statistic King, who is 13th. Swanshanks has the DRS though, and Swanshanks I think is going to go past here with ease. No problem whatsoever. So that's the Charoux through. They go side by side though. Swanshanks cuts the corner there. He'll have to let Statistic King back through, I think. Which he doesn't do. It looks like Swanshanks gained the position by going off track. Swanshanks runs wide, I should say, and Statistic King back into 13th place. Ramsell's got the gap down between himself and Big Boss Bells to 1 second. He wasn't able to use the DRS on this occasion. Just 2 laps remaining. Emilia's just able to hold on ahead of Rosie in the battle over 4th place. Rosie would still finish ahead of Emilia's as it stands. Liverpool fan getting through on Will. It looks like he's suffered some front wing damage as well on the safety car restart, which is why he's dropped back. So Liverpool fan is through into 8th place and potentially on course for a reverse grid pole as well. The top 8 of the feature race do get reversed for the grid. The sprints. Here's Ramsell behind Big Balls Bells now. He will not finish ahead of him via the race results unless something dramatic does happen to Big Balls Bells. Looks like someone's gone off, I think. Is that Stephen who's had a bit of a moment, I think, coming out of Tamburello, but he's continued anyway. Will gets back ahead of Liverpool fan, but Liverpool fan knows that Will is carrying an enormous time penalty of 17 seconds, which remarkably would only drop him 1 position. And that is Swanshank's out of the race. Unfortunately, he's crashed out of the Villeneuve chicane. So his race coming to an end. Very close to the checker flag as well. This is Don Argent, who's now on his final lap of the race. Ramsell was not able to get in front of Big Balls Bells on this occasion. So it looks like he's going to be settling for 3rd position. He'll lose crucial ground to Don Argent in the race for the title. It looks like Lucifer has gone for a spin in the MP Motorsport car. So Don Argent then on his final lap, 12 seconds clear of everyone else. And that's despite the safety car we had earlier on. He's coming into Ravazza for the last time then. Don Argent is going to take a significant victory, so significant that it takes him ever closer to the championship. Don Argent wins the feature race at Imola in the Formula Racing League. He wins out and collects maximum points. Big Balls Bells gets a kick of wheel spin on the exit, but he holds on for 2nd place ahead of Ramsell, who is 3rd. Melios will finish behind Rosie once the penalties have been applied. So Rosie will be 4th place, Melios 5th. Dust should be in 6th. Only 0.6 of a second behind Melios, so he could have got 5th place actually had he picked up the pace a little bit more. Podge will fall behind Liverpool fan. So Liverpool fan will in fact finish 7th, Podge 8th, and on reverse grid pole. Will should keep hold of 9th place, and that's the Warrior without a front wing there in the Campos. So he's coming through to finish in 10th. Vintage will cross the line ahead of Stephen. And we see Statistic King, who will only be 13th. Winfield, Albert out of the title race now, to be quite honest with you. 13th for Statistic King, Winfield 14th, and there's Lucifer taking the last points and the last of the finishers in 15th place. But it's Don Argent who wins the first race of tonight here at Imola. So your race result from the feature race sees Don Argent win and claim the points for the fastest lap and the points for pole position. Big Balls Bells 2nd ahead of Ramsell, then it's Rosie 4th, Melios 5th, Dust in 6th ahead of Liverpool fan, Podge in 8th and on reverse grid pole for the sprint race, William 9th and the Warrior rounding out the top 10. Vintage was 11th, followed by Stephen and Statistic King, Winfield and Lucifer rounding off the finishers. Swanshanks was classified in 16th, although he crashed out with a couple of laps to go. Mima Moody retired, as did Wild Dog and Jay Hartnell. So the gap at the top, with Argent collecting a total of 46 points, including the pole position and fast start points, and Ramsell collecting 26. That sees Argent's lead increase to 62 points, which means that he could mathematically clinch the title in the sprint race. If he was to do that, it would need to be at least 79 points clear. So if he won the sprint race and got the fastest lap, Ramsell would need to finish in the top 4 to stay in the championship hunt, but that's only by mathematical calculations. So this is a crucial race for Ramsell. He really does need to cut that deficit down to give himself the best chance possible going into the last round of the season in Singapore next week. So the driver's raring to go on the formation lap. I would expect more or less all of them to be starting on the medium compound, but we'll see. So the only so in fact the majority of them starting on the soft compound, which is interesting. Vintage, Stephen, Winfield, Swanshanks, and Mima Moody starting on the mediums. And just looking to see that there's no one whose car is controlled by the AI. I like to think there isn't, and I don't think there is. So, which is good news. So all 19 involved for the sprint, and Podge will be looking to get off the line well here, as will Liverpool fan. And interesting to see how Ramsell, Big Boss Wells and Argent make their way through the field. So Podge generating some temperature into the tyres and brakes. It'll be interesting to see how those soft tyres can last. I was expecting the vast majority to be on the mediums, but it seems that the soft tyre is the best tyre to be on here at Emilia. So they're going to very much wear away, and I suppose if we do end up with a safety car, that can only help the tyres as opposed to not. But the cars are coming back on the grid for the 22nd race of the season. Podge on pole, reverse grid pole. Liverpool fans second ahead of Dust and Melios, with Rosie in 5th ahead of Ramsell. It's Big Balls Balls and Argent. William and the Warrior ran at the top 10 on the grid. Vintage and Stephen are on row 6, followed by Statistic King and Winfield, with Lucifer and Swanshanks on row 8. Mima Moody and Wild Dog make up the 9th row, with Jay Hartnell making up 19th and last place. So everyone is back on the grid now. We are raring to go for this 13-lap sprint race here at Imola to round off the evening's action. So Podge on reverse group hold. Can he lead from the front when the 5 red lights go out? It's lights out and away we go. Podge gets off the line very, very well. Liverpool fan not so good. And that's allowed Dust and Melios to pull alongside here, as does Rosie in fact. Ramsell's got in here. Someone goes into the polystyrene blocks behind, and that could cause mayhem down at Tamburello. And we've got one of the ARTs spinning round, and it's Stephen. So there's drama already, and now we can see one of the Unite Virtuosi spinning around. Dust! The car's ghosted, fortunately, and does not collect anyone else, but that's him spinning around. You can see the cars making their way through. So Podge leads ahead of Rosie, and Ramsell has got to 3rd place from 6th on the grid. Melios is in 4th, followed by Argent and William, Winfield, Warrior, Statistic King, and Swanshanks running out your top 10 so far. That's one of the HWAs going off into the gravel trap at Tosa. That'll be Jay Hartnell, who's had a very torrid evening. Got caught up in the first lap mess in the feature race, and he's in the gravel trap at the start of the sprint. And that's Ramsell with front wing damage as well, so he's going to suffer horribly with understeer. Hits the back of Rosie coming out of Acqua Minerale, and this could be him maybe thinking about a lunge on the inside of it, Variante Alta, but that would have been very, very audacious. And this is allowing Podge to pull further clear of the rest. So Ramsell already in trouble here with that damage. I wonder if he'll decide to carry on here. I think he's going to have to, because the amount of time you do lose in the pits here at Emilia is very, very large. So we end the first lap with Podge in the race lead. Ramsell looking to make a move on Rosie when they get into the Tamburello chicane. So Rosie falling 3.5 seconds behind there. We can see a move from Argent, who's just got past Melios here, or is going side by side with him anyway, as they exit the Tosa hairpin. Melios going to the outside. Does Argent leave him enough space? He does so, and Argent goes up into 4th position. And Ramsell will get on with us here. He's continuing to tap the back of Rosie on the exit back of the middle. And Argent has gone for a spin. So the championship leader's gone for a spin. Now that has huge implications for the championship. Argent has gone for a spin, and he's fallen to the back of the field after that. He's fallen down to last place, in fact, behind Jay Hartnell. So Argent out of the points, and that's great news for Ramsell, as he'll want to crack on and get past Rosie here for 2nd place. So DRS is now enabled. Ramsell will want to get this overtake done sooner rather than later. To the inside he goes into Tamburello. Has he done it? Yes, he has. He leaves Rosie enough space, does he? Rosie lets him through, and Ramsell is up into 2nd place. Very well done to him there. There's William running wide on the exit of Tamburello, and that allows Winfield to go past. So Winfield, who's still mathematically in the championship hunt, has gone up into 5th place. He's got his teammate in front of him, so one of Melios may decide to let his teammate go by here. And someone else has gone for a spin. Is that Stephen in the ART? It is. He's had another wretched evening tonight. There's Stephen, but it could have been so much different. So the gap that you can see Ramsell under pressure from Rosie. Ramsell runs wide at Acqua Minerale, and Rosie's not able to get through. Melios gets a really poor exit, takes his teammate Winfield, he's out! Winfield is out of the race. That's poor driving standards that from Melios, unfortunately. Pushed his teammate into the barrier, and that may be enough for a safety car. So Winfield, with that crash, is now out of the running for the championship, unfortunately. That was so unfortunate, and that was all Melios' fault there. He did not leave his teammate enough room when he got too much wheel spin coming out of Acqua Minerale, and Winfield's race ends in the barrier. There's quite a lot of debris all over the racetrack as well, so I wonder if the virtual safety car's been deployed, so we may see some drivers pitting in here. Melios goes in too quickly. And Dust also in for a change. And now we've got a full safety car. So the safety car's been deployed. Argent deciding to pit him, which will be for the medium compound tyre. Oh no, it's another set of the softs. So Argent deciding that the soft compound is the way to go. It will be a used set actually, even though it says 0 laps. These won't be brand spanking new for Argent, but this could be the helping hand he needs actually to get back in the hunt. And Jay Hartnell's been penalised for speeding under the safety car, sorry, and he'll have to take that once we go back under green flag conditions. So Podge, will he decide to pit in, or will he decide to just keep track position and remain out there? He's going to remain out there. I think Ramsell wants to pit in, and Jay Hartnell gets penalised for exceeding the safety car delta. He just doesn't know when to stop, does he? He doesn't know when to slow down. I just don't get it with him. And Lucifer and Swanshanks speeding under the safety car, and they will get a 5-second time penalty. Jay Hartnell, I wonder if he may decide to just come into the pits and retire, to be honest with you. He's too far out of the frame now. He's going to be way too far out of sync to the rest of the field. So we're on lap 5 of this sprint race. Podge leads with Ramsell second, with Arjun now moving up. Is he going to go ahead of Swanshanks here? He's not going to go ahead of Lucifer. I think Don Arjun's back in the pits now, actually, and that's Melio's going for a spin. I'm not sure what's happened there. He's obviously gone for a spin, and Don Arjun is into the pits for another change of tyres. He'll want to get a move on here, actually, because the field is almost coming round. And a set of the mediums going on for Don Arjun this time, which is wise of him. They should be brand spanking new. And he's out on his way. He's going to be so far behind, though. I think this is the second lap, or is it the first lap under the safety car? I can't quite remember as far as Podge is concerned in terms of following round the pace car. I would think we're going to be behind this for another couple of laps. We'll see what Ramsell decides to do here with that front wing damage. He decides not to go in. And Big Boss Bell's in 11th place. So the drivers who have pitted in are just those who are in, from Lucifer downwards. And Jay Hartnell speeds in the pit lane, and that just adds insult to injury. And I think this is going to be him retiring from the race now, to be honest with you. And Lucifer in the pits again, cannot slow down. Cannot slow down, can Lucifer. And Jay Hartnell, unsurprisingly, decides that is enough for him tonight. And he retires from the race. We're down to 17 runners as Arjun needs to catch up to the back of the field. And now, did Arjun pass Lucifer before the line that determines who was in front under the safety car conditions? I think he must have done, otherwise they'd have given the position back. The safety car is going to remain out there for another lap. So what are we going to see when the safety car goes back in? Ramsell's going to struggle on the damage that he's suffered on the opening lap, but he knows he needs to win this race. He needs every point he can get. Wild Dog in the pits for Carlin. He managed to get the car slowed down in time. And the front wing getting changed. He should catch up to the back of the field before the safety car goes in, and Lucifer comes in, I think, to serve that 5 seconds, and this time he does slow down to within the pit lane speed limit. don't know if he'll decide to go on. Is he going to go on another set of mediums? Oh no, it's the soft compound going on. And it's the old set of the soft compound going back on for him. He's going to have too much to do from there, to be quite honest with you. I'm not sure if he's going to catch up to the back of the pack. But we'll see. So the safety car will go in at the end of this lap, I believe. Yep, there you go, look. Confirmation from race control. So Podge will lead the field on the restart. He'll just want to pull away as quickly as he can. He's not allowing the safety car to pull it away, though. He does so now. But he's just ever so impatient for the safety car to go in. And that is not really a good restart there from Podge. He should have just allowed the safety car to pull away. We're back on the way now at Emilia. With Ramsell behind. Rosie and Will are next. Podge runs wide at Tamburello, and that's going to allow Ramsell to go to the outside, and that's going to see him through. There's contact made, and that's Podge into the wall there. He did not leave enough space. It was a poor restart there from Podge, to be quite honest with you. And someone else seems to have spun around. That is Vintage in the dams, but Podge's race has gone from bad to worse, unfortunately, and Ramsell's through into the lead. Crucial for the championship. We can see Don Argent, who's in 11th place at the moment. So, and Lucifer is out of the race as well. He stopped in the pits. So Lucifer's race has come to an end. So Don Argent on the fresher tyres. He'll be ploughing his way through the field, I would reckon. And now we can see the Warrior going to the outside. And that's Will in 4th position. No DRS for the first 2 laps of the restart. As the drivers exit Ravazza. And Ramsell's put out a margin of 1.3 seconds with 5 laps remaining. Looking very good for the victory. But what about Don Argent? He's in 12th place now. I think it's just been overtaken by Miman Moody. So Don Argent has made a mistake somewhere. And Vintage back in the pits for Dams, and that could be the end of the race for him. We're hoping for another safety car within the next lap or so. Argent up to 11th position now. And Big Boss Bell's going side by side with Liverpool fan. So the Warrior not able to use DRS on this occasion. The DRS is now enabled, but they won't be able to use it until next time round. So we'll give Ramsell an opportunity to pull away here as the Warrior closes in on Rosie in the battle for 2nd place. Oh, the Warrior got out of shape coming out of Tamburello, and that's going to Will through into 3rd place. Will to the outside. He's through past the Campos. P3 goes to him. Big Boss Bell's in 5th place. Don Argent still in 11th, but with the time penalties applied, he will be in 9th. Caught the curve on the exit there. Swanshanks runs wide on the exit of the field, no chicane. Miman Moody, I think, just received another penalty there, or his first penalty of the race. And Wild Dog out after crashing on the exit of Tamburello. Is that going to bring out a safety car? I'm not sure if it will do. And Statistic King has fallen down the order as well. He's made a mistake at Acrominarali. Liberal fan now with a time penalty for track limits, as does Emilio. So, seen a few more penalties being dished out. But Wild Dog ends this evening with 2 non-finishes. So no points for him. Ramsell 3 laps away now from victory. It doesn't look so we are going to get a safety car, and we're not going to do now because we've entered the last 3 laps of the race. So even we had the wildest of accidents, the safety car or virtual safety car would not be deployed. Arjun posting the fast lap of the race. That's crucial because with him in 10th, inside the top 10, he would get the extra 2 points for the fastest lap. So as it stands, Arjun race alone. Bearing in mind there's a couple of time penalties ahead of him. He's on course, I think. Working out my maths. He's on course to get 7 championship points. Compared to Ramsell, or 9 championship points because he would be getting the points for the fastest lap. So Arjun would get 9 championship points, Ramsell would get 30, which would see the championship gap come back down to 41. But it's still a healthy lead for Don Arjun going to the final round in Singapore in 7 days' time. So Rosie in second place, 2.2 seconds behind Ramsell, with a couple of laps to go after this one. And I would think that Don Arjun is going to make up another place or 2 before this race is over. Statistic King has been on those soft compound tyres since the start. And I'm not sure he's going to hold off Arjun, who is on 5-lap-old mediums. So we'll wait and see. So Arjun exiting. That's Statistic King getting a kick of oversteer. Well, I say oversteer, got a kick of wheel spin on the exit of Rivatsa. Arjun in the slipstream with DRS, pulls alongside, and that is him through into 9th place. So that's another position gain there for Arjun towards the championship. That is another championship point. He gets a tap from behind though by Statistic King. That's naughty, that from Statistic King. I think that may have been a glitch actually. So Arjun through into P9, no problem. He may gain another place because Liverpool fan has that time penalty. As we watch Big Boss go side by side with William on the exit of Tosa, and that is him through into 3rd place and onto the podium. This is very good here from Big Boss Bells. Someone has gone off the track. That'll be Melios in the Prema. Front wing damage for him. And he allows pods to go through. So there's Ramsell with that front wing damage, still able to extend the gap. Statistic King now with a time penalty for track limits. Dust getting the same, so that's good news for Arjun, who's behind them, because that'll be another position gain for him once the penalties do apply. He is within 3 seconds of him. So he's on course to finish in P6 here is Arjun, which would net him 12 championship points plus the 2 for fastest lap. So that's 14 to 30 of which Ramsey would get. So the championship gap would be 46 points going into the final round in Singapore. Arjun with a new fastest lap of the race. And Liverpool fan looks like he's been overtaken by dust. Someone has gone... Well, he's had a moment. I couldn't quite tell who that was. I think that may have been Vintage, actually. He's gone for a spin. He allowed the race leader to go past. He is now on his final lap there. Oh, someone's gone off the track. That's the Warrior. That'll be good news for Don Arjun. So the Warrior with front wing damage. He caught the curb at the Villeneuve chicane. And Arjun is potentially through now into 5th place. And that is dust spinning round in the UNI Virtuosi coming out of Tosa. So some of the drivers struggling for grip at the moment on this final lap. And Statistic King has retired from the race. He's crashed out on the exit of Tosa. So that's his night racing over. And that's Big Boss Bells into the wall. And that's his front wing damage. And that'll allow Don Arjun through into what could be 4th place now. But here's Ramsell then, who's going to collect yet another race victory and close in on Arjun in the race for the title. Ramsell exiting Rivatsa for the last time, and he will take victory in the sprint race here at Imola. Ramsell wins in fine style with Rosie in 2nd. Good result for her after missing last week. Will finish 3rd. And then Liverpool fan is going to drop behind Don Arjun here. I think he's had a bit of a spin actually as Don Arjun, but he still crosses the line and is classified in P4. Liverpool Fan will be 5th, ahead of Warrior 6th. Stephen is 7th. Big Boss Bells 8th, ahead of Swanshanks. Mima Moody will drop behind. Is he going to drop behind Podge? I'm not 100% sure. Dust is out of the race on the last lap as well. But Podge crosses the line now. He is in P11, so Moody will be 10th. Podge 11th. Melio's 12th. Dust 13th. Statisticking 14th. And Vintage down the lap in 15th place. But it's Ramsell who wins in Imola. And we're going to have a title showdown in Singapore next week. So the drivers out onto the podium with Ramsell, the happy victor. And that rounds off the evening's action. It's been quite a lot of entertaining track action going on there tonight, which is good to see. So your race result from the sprints sees Ramsell win, ahead of Rosie in 2nd place, William 3rd, Don Argent in 4th, and getting the fastest lap points. Liverpool Fan 5th, ahead of the Warrior, Stephen in 7th place, Big Boss Wells 8th, Swanshanks 9th, and Me Man Moody running out the top 10. Podge 11th, Melio's 12th, Dust 13th for the Sting, and Vintage running out the finishes. Wild Dog crashed out, as did Lucifer, stopping in the pits. Jay Hardnell and Winfield also didn't make it to the end. So the championship gap, with John Archie coming home in 4th place in the sprint race, that nets him 15 points plus the 2 for the fastest lap. So that brings the gap back down to just 49 points going to the final round of the season in Singapore. So it'll be either Don Argent or Ramsell being crowned champion of Season 5 of F2 in the Formula Racing League. Thank you to everyone that's been watching. Apologies for the technical difficulties earlier, which resulted in me having to put together another stream, but hopefully that didn't spoil what you were watching out there. Do make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel in case you haven't already done so, and we'll do it all over again next week for the last round of the season. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the Formula Racing League returns.